We are not fighting each other. We are fighting against the flesh, against principalities, against things that we can't see. There is a spiritual battle going on everywhere. We can't see it, but there is a mighty battle for our soul, for our spirit, for our eternal life. I believe that while we are hurt, we can make really stupid mistakes. Mistakes that will stay with us for a lifetime. But we have a choice. We have a choice to say no. No, I'm not going down that road. It's so easy when pornography comes into your life that you just want to run and you want to hide and you want to grab somebody else and say, I'm going to get you back. Oh, that thought has crossed my mind. But never would I betray my marriage that way. Just because I have been betrayed doesn't mean that I have to betray back. It doesn't mean that I have to get Jared back for what he did to me. Because I know he's suffering his own pain right now. I know that pornography was just a way to fill a gaping hole in his life. I know that he had been crying out to God for a long time. But here's the deal. When you know something is wrong in your spirit, when you know deep down inside that something's wrong in your marriage and you can't figure out what it is, and it's nagging you and nagging you, and you ask your spouse, what's going on? What's wrong? You seem like you're unhappy. You seem like you're just miserable. It just feels like you don't want to be here with me. What's going on? And it's at that moment that your spouse has that opportunity to either come clean or to keep holding on to that guilt and shame. Because that's what it is. It's guilt and it's shame. How easy would it be for you to admit something like that, even if someone is coming to you and saying, what's going on? Sometimes we have to be caught in our sin before we can get out of it. And I believe that at this time and in this place of my life, God has chosen this very moment to make everything known, to bring all the darkness into the light, to be exposed for what it is. And I have a choice to run from it or run to God, to run to my husband, to help him. I can't save him. I can't fix him. I can't fix this. But I can be there for him. I can love him. It doesn't mean that I love the sin. It doesn't mean that I'm not hurt. It doesn't mean that this pain that I feel right now is going to just go away. It just means that we have to try. It just means that we just have to reach out a hand and say, you know what? I'm on your side. I'm not against you. I'm against the sin. Because like anything else in this world, you are tempted, just like I'm tempted every single day. I'm tempted to yell at Tavin. I'm tempted to not do any housework. I'm tempted to just not be a housewife. I'm tempted to not talk to Jared. Or I'm tempted to just give him an attitude. And lots of times I choose those things. Those are my sins. So I can be graceful and gracious and merciful and forgiving and kind and be my husband's best friend during this terrible time. I don't want to be his wife right now. I want to be his friend. I don't want to be his lover. I want to be the person that he can come to and trust and confide in and pour his spirit and his soul and all his pain. I want him to be able to know that he can trust me with that, and that I'm not going to take it and run and use it against him. But instead, I'm going to empower him, and I'm going to lift him up, and I'm going to pray for him. I am going to share some things that happened to me. I'm telling you, this new life, and that's what it is. Let's just face it, this is a whole new life for us. There's no going back. Yesterday, I told my best friend, I just want things back the way they were. But then this morning, I realized I don't. I don't want to go back to that. I don't want to go back to the way we were. I want things better. But I have to be better. Because, quite frankly, when I knew something was going on, I kept shutting off from him. I kept building walls to Jared. I kept hands off because I knew something was not right. And in this process of shutting down, I've disconnected with Jared, which then led him to his cycle and to his sin. And then we'd get together and then it would just fall apart. It's a vicious cycle. And I don't want to go back to that. But going back to not knowing is a comfortable place. When they say ignorance is bliss, that is so true. It is so easy to be happy in not knowing the truth. But knowing the truth sets you free. And Jared being able to finally come clean of this is going to set him free. And now it's going to set us both free. And it's going to set our marriage free from the bondage that the enemy has had over us. And now we can really let the Lord start doing the things that God has been wanting to do for years in our marriage and has not been able to do because Jared has been holding back and because I have been holding back. I'm not blaming me. Please know, I am not blaming me. I take no responsibility for Jared's action, but I take responsibility for mine. And where I failed in this marriage, I need to be responsible for that. Jared needs to be responsible where he failed in this marriage. This is a two-way street. This is not just something that we can pretend didn't happen now, because we can't. We can either move forward together or we can move forward apart. And I don't want to do that. I've invested too much of my life and too much of my love and too much of my heart into this marriage to just give it up. And yes, I'm telling you, my first reaction was get out. And that's putting it nicely. What is that going to solve for my family? What is it going to solve for Jared? What is it going to solve for me? What's it going to solve for Tavin? Nothing. It's not going to heal Jared. It's not going to heal me. It's going to only make things worse. So many people get divorced because of pornography. Pornography is devastating. And we are glamorizing it everywhere we look. It is amazing to me that there aren't more people addicted to pornography when I consider what we have to see on TV. And when we consider what our children are being presented to by the entertainment industry. Everywhere we look, they are screaming for our kids to look at porn. Minecraft. Such a simple, wonderful thing that so many kids are using. So how does the porn industry get involved? Hey, you know what? I'm going to make Minecraft porn because the kids will look at it. Or cartoons. And now they're subjecting our children to gay cartoons on YouTube Kids. Stop it, YouTube, before we just stop using you. Before we can no longer trust you with our children. No, before we can no longer trust you with anything. Because when I put that age restriction on, you should be restricting that content. But instead, you're putting it into my kids' content. Shame on you, YouTube. Fortunately, many of you have stood up and come against this and have fought to have it taken off, and thankfully YouTube listened. But YouTube needs to be very aware of what they are doing and what they are allowing children to see. But we live in this world right now where a lot of people think we should be educating our children on gay sex. They're not educating them on regular sex, but let's teach you about gay sex. They are trying to steal our children. The porn industry has stolen our families. And we look at this whole thing, and I read an article by Matt Walsh that just really, truly was an eye-opener. I've never been one for Playboy or Hugh Hefner, but by golly, when he died, it was R.I.P. Hef, all over Facebook. And then we find out about this Weinstein in Hollywood who's been molesting women and using his power over women for sex. And everyone's appalled. So what is it? Are you appalled by someone using sex for their power, or are you appalled by someone using sex for their power? Because neither of those men were doing anything different. And Hugh Hefner was so desensitized by his own pornography that he could no longer even find pleasure in it. And I won't get into detail of that, but because I don't really want to discuss him, this isn't what this is about. It's about the healing process of what Hugh Hefner and that whole industry has done to demoralize women and to steal the souls of our husbands and our children and our sons. And the internet makes it so easy access. Free, 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 like blinking lights. It calls them, it nags them, it drags them, kicking and screaming, but they go. Your spouse probably didn't want to get into pornography. It was probably one of the last things he wanted to do. But the enemy is so good at finding your spouse's weaknesses, whatever that may be, alcohol, drugs, painkillers. Because let's face it, men have a lot of pressure, as do women. We both genders, and I'm saying there's only two, because there's only two. Both genders face immense pressures. The women want it all, but yet they want a family, and they want a career, and they want to be successful, and they want to be attractive, and they want to be loved. And they want all of these things. And the husband feels the pressure of that woman's desires and wants to give her those things. But he also has his own desires to be successful, to be a provider, to have a wife, to have a family. Some of our differences aren't really differences. They're the same thing, but it's how we go about getting them that's different. I'm not using that as an excuse either. Please understand that I'm not. But when our spouses start feeling lost in their own world, in their own mind, and you take into consideration maybe their own childhood experiences or their family experiences that are negative, and they don't know what to do with that because men aren't very open about their feelings or things that have happened to them that have hurt them in the past, they tend to squash that down. And pornography knows that. That is a great way to lure in the broken men in this generation. That's why I'm being open about this. That's why I'm speaking out against it. That's why I want to tell my story. because I don't want to see the enemy have a stronghold in anyone's life anymore. I want to see men be clean and healthy and full of life and goodness, because there's so many men out there that are potentially amazing men, but are so drawn into lust that they forget who they are. My husband forgot who he is. Now, a lot of men who are addicted to porn are also Christians, ministers. Rocking my world, just all the things I'm reading about pornography right now. It's scary. 54% of Promise Keepers admitted to watching porn at the Promise Keepers convention. That's just those who admitted it freely. They're Christians who have dedicated their lives to their families. That's how powerful pornography can be. And that's why we need to also educate our children on this before it becomes a problem. My oldest son got addicted to pornography at 11 years old. I don't know how long he had been looking at it, but I caught him one day. And no matter what you do after the fact, it's already too late. Because once they view it, they can't get enough. It's addicting. It is a drug. It is the spawn of the enemy. All it takes is one time for your spouse, for your child to look at porn and they're hooked. That's all it takes. But the problem isn't just porn. The problem is the movie industry, television. I mean, some of these shows are soft porn. I have to give a shout out to PBS for how they handled Victoria, the show Victoria with Jenna Coleman. Back to the old school of kissing. None of the, mouth open, tongues flapping all over the place, and hands all over. No, it's old school kissing. Thank you, PBS. Seriously. I mean, I don't want to see that stuff, because when we start presenting that to our husbands and to our children, that's opening the door. We're just giving them a taste of it, and we're saying, ooh, I gotta have something more with that. We have to be very careful of what we are letting our children view. And there are so many bad things out there that are considered good right now. So many TV shows that many of us allow our children to watch that are teaching them to dig deeper into pornography. It's scary to think how much there is out there that is an open door for our families to walk into. So this morning I was heartbroken. I was absolutely devastated by all of this. This is Tuesday. I found out on Friday. And it's a roller coaster ride of emotions. I've said this several times now, and it's true. One minute you feel like everything's okay, the next minute you feel like you're going to die. And then the next minute you're angry and you don't want to even look at your spouse. And then the next minute you kind of want to make up, but you can't. You want things back the way they were, but then you realize, no, you don't. And so you have to find this balance of where you are. And you have to invite your husband into that space. Maybe many of you are thinking, no way. You're going way too early, because I'd be making him suffer. Well, I don't want to make him suffer. He has been suffering. He's been suffering for a very long time. Longer than I can even imagine, because this is rooted into something into his past. I don't know what that did to him and why it led him down this path. But I know this pain is real in him because my husband has also been addicted to alcohol. My husband has been addicted to drugs. My husband has been addicted to painkillers. And now pornography. Something is killing my husband. Something deep down inside him is just aching. If I don't realize that, then I'm not a very good wife. If I'm not paying attention to those signals that he's hurting, and then I just want to hurt him more, well, then I'm not a good person. If we're married to our best friend, and you should be, then we should act like their best friend. We should put aside our marriage for a minute and be their friend. And listen. But in the same sense, we also need to ask them to be our friend because we need them to listen to us too. It can't just be one-sided. There has to be a balance. I'm helping you, you're helping me. This is going to work. Only that way. Yes, I need my own help. Yes, he needs his own help. But in the meantime, when we don't have that individual help, then we better be helping each other. Because if we don't, one of us is going to fall, one of us is going to just fall over or fall away. I'm not going to fall away. I'm going to trust the Lord with this. I'm going to trust my husband with this. I'm going to try. That doesn't mean that tomorrow I'm not going to wake up feeling that pain and anger again. It doesn't mean that tomorrow afternoon that I won't feel like I want to hurt someone. Because quite frankly, that's what I feel sometimes. Because I'm angry at the world. I'm angry that we think this is okay. I'm angry that everyone says it's just porn. It's just porn. No, it's not. It is a death sentence for our spouses. It's a death sentence to families, to marriages. Probably more than any drug. I don't think I was this angry when I found out that Jared had been drinking behind my back. I was pretty mad about that, but I was able to give that up to the Lord and just say, God, I forgive him. I'm going to let you deal with him on this. And I can do this with this problem too. However, this is really painful for me because it feels like a betrayal, an intimate betrayal. It feels like a loss. It feels like I lost my husband a long time ago. So now I just need to find him again. And I need to find me because I don't know how many spouses, if you are that close with your spouse, I have no idea how you don't know what's going on. I felt it in my spirit a long time ago. Long, long time ago. I've confessed it to some of my friends, to my closest friends, over the years that I thought something was off. Something's wrong. And there was. See, listen to that. Listen to that spirit. Listen to what the spirit is telling you. So today I reached out to Jared and I asked him if he would get up with me in the mornings. Because the mornings is the hardest part for me. I don't want to be alone because it feels empty because he works nights and sleeps all day. And the mornings feel so void. I mean, I can't find my strength to move on. I can't find my strength to want to do anything but just crumble in a ball and cry. So I asked Jared if he would get up with me in the mornings, even if it means that I can't stand looking at him. At least it's tangible. At least I can look at him and say, you're here, and I can deal with this, and I'm going to either be mad at you or I'm going to talk this through, but I can't do this alone. I can't be alone right now. I can't be alone in this. Neither can he. So I want to do what's right. And I'm choosing to forgive my husband. I won't forget. I will never forget. But that's a good thing. Because by not forgetting, we can never go back. And that's what it's all about. That we never go back. And we never let our husbands go back. We never let the enemy take a grip on our spouse. Never again. We have to choose that we choose our marriage, we choose our spouse, we choose to forgive, and we choose the Lord above all else. And we know that by doing that, God will make a way. God made a way in my heart by just going to him and saying, I can't do this, God. I can't do this on my own. I need you. And God reveals to me that I need Jared, and Jared needs me. If you truly love your spouse, and maybe you don't at this minute, that's okay, because I didn't love Jared yesterday, but today I do. Tomorrow I may hate him again, but right now I do. And right now I can say, I'm going to do this. I'm not going back. I will never go back. And I will never let my husband go back. Because I'm going to fight for him, and he's going to fight for me. You have to fight for each other. And it could be a long, drawn-out fight, or it can be a short one. That's really your choice, and it's between the two of you. I know this is hard on you. I know this is painful. I know that you're dying inside and you're so angry and you feel so betrayed, and you have every right to those feelings. Every right. Don't minimize that. I'm not minimizing it. You don't minimize it. You feel what you have to feel. But you talk about it with your spouse. Don't ever let him not see you cry. Don't ever let him not see you angry. It's important that he sees what he's done to you. He needs to see what he's done to you. Because if he doesn't, then he doesn't know the pain he's caused. Don't run away from this. Don't push it down inside. Don't walk away from him so you can get angry. Let him see how raw you are right now. You let him see how vulnerable you are right now. Because I swear to you, it will do a world of good if your husband is anything like mine and really loves you. You can't go back. It's out in the open now. It's out there. It's in the light. And praise God, we're not going back into the darkness. I'm not going to allow that to happen. Don't go back. Move forward and make it better. Stand with your spouse. Stand with him and fight with him. God bless you.